Hello, friend and fellow mover. So, this is the kind of day I'm having. I haven't been doing enough yoga and mobility work. I mean, do we ever, right? You can't get enough until you do, until it breaks you in half. Hopefully not. Just kidding. Hopefully not. More or less these days, though, because of the rest of the activities I so enjoy, walking hours and hours and hours a day, cycling, weightlifting, playing at the playground, doing monkey bars and hanging, kettlebells, barbell, dumbbell, like all the things. I love all the things, but I feel like I just don't get enough yoga and mobility, and that's definitely where I'm at right now. And I'm about to film a yoga class for the Yoga Tree, which is a fabulous studio in Massachusetts that I'm affiliated with. So what's a girl to do? What is a mover to do? I'm going to show you what I'm going to practice right now for some preheating movement. Um, Come join me if you'd like. I'm going to stand on up and start with some marching. I'm working with my timer. I love working with the timer. It sort of just keeps me on track. So I'm going to start marching it out. If you're with me and you're knocking off some rust today, here we go. So a super simple knee tap. Something I'm focusing on quite a lot these days in terms of targeting a tight, sticky, grumpy spot on my body, which is the front of my hips. Very common spot. It might be the same in your body. Is here I want my standing leg to be straight. So I'm really focusing not on the lifting leg, the marching leg, but the grounded leg, that down leg. And I'm pushing my footprint firmly in the floor. I'm squeezing that glute muscle like crazy, and I'm trying to keep my knees straight so that as I bring my bent side up, my straight side is getting a hip flexor opening. And of course, you can do these at any pace. I'm going slow because I'm feeling slow today. Okay, so we have 5 seconds. This timer is 1 minute, and we're doing 9 things, although one of these things, let's come down to kneeling. One of these things we'll do, toes are tucked under. One of these things we'll do twice. Insides of hands together, arms lift up. Ooh, feel that little tricep stretch. Backs of hands pressing together, and then with the backs of the hands still touching, go up and out. So we scoop like you're pouring water over your body, and then up and away. And this whole time, because we're kneeling with our toes tucked, we're getting a really nice foot and plantar fascial stretch. So you're opening up through the bottoms of your feet as you work into your shoulders. And just getting that wrist rotation where we have the backs of the hands together, almost like a little heart behind your head. Noticing how the two sides are feeling. Maybe they're feeling a bit different, doing your best to move symmetrically. All right, come on up to stand and twist it. So I always love to do a nice bit of dynamic twisting just to awaken through the core of my body. And I feel also very often a nice dynamic, kind of like an elastic release, if that's a thing, if such a thing exists, an elastic release in my back muscles on the two sides of my spine. So the big ropey erector muscles kind of wind up and then unravel quickly each time you go side to side. So they wind up and release, wind up and release. And so for me, this one is really, really nice for releasing my back, especially if I've been sitting on the ground working at my computer. Okay, our next move is a hinge squat. So we're getting into the hips. So I do that karate chop to take my hips into flexion. And then once I'm pretty much as extended down there as I can be with my spine, then I squat and stand from there. And I get a nice big overhead reach when I stand, opening through the belly, the shoulders, and repeating that one. Hinge for the hamstrings, try to keep the spine extended, and squat, and stand. Again, any pace. As I get warmer, I tend to go more quickly, but at first, or on a day like today where I'm not really using this as a dynamic warm-up to work out, I'm just using it to tune up my body, to wake myself up, I'm going slow. Let's do some Frankensteins. So after the hinge squat, it's nice to do a few little leg swings. So I step, step, and swing, step, step, and swing. If you have been practicing movement with me for a while on these videos, you've probably seen all these moves multiple times. It's nothing original, it's nothing earth-shattering or groundbreaking. These are just some of my staple moves that I use all the time, either to prepare for a bigger workout, a longer workout, or like today, if I just need some dynamic mobility, like I just need to move my parts, I need to get my mind in the game, I need to get my heart rate up a little bit, get my energy moving. These are some of the best ways to do that, at least for my body. And I thought I would share, because maybe they work for you too. All right, one leg at a time. So go to a wall or a piece of furniture to brace yourself, and then just swing forward and backward. So you're getting a nice single leg swing here. When I'm outdoors, I love to do these traveling. So you take a step forward and then you swing, take another step forward and swing through. It's lovely. But in a small space, you just stay stationary, brace yourself, a little bit of balance with your hand, and go for it. We're going to be changing sides, just making sure you have clearance. You're clear for takeoff. So changing to your second side. And again, it's about a minute. We don't have to be overly precise with it today, since it's really just for our own good feels. It's not preparing us for any kind of specific training. So please excuse my back to you on this one. There's no other spot in the room where I could do this side and still be on camera. So please excuse that, but hopefully you've changed sides as well and you're going through it with me. Again, just nice and dynamic here. Increasing the fluid turnover inside the hip joint. Again, really, really good just for general everyday maintenance, as well as any other movement that might be coming your way today. Finishing with that one, we're going to go to a walk down. So at the back of your mat, hinge at your hips like we did before, flat back. And then this time walk out and come to a plank. Take a short pause in your plank. Sometimes I like to do a little front to back. That feels good today. So if you're doing that, go ahead, keep doing that. If you're not doing it, that's good too. And then wherever you are, let's just walk it back. I'm going to stand, reach up overhead. So you don't have to do this overhead reach. We're going to walk down again. That's optional, but again, I think it feels nice, especially if I'm having a day where I'm feeling tighter. So here when I chug, of course it's a nice way to charge up your abdominal core, no doubt, but mostly I'm doing it for my wrists, the wrist hinge. I'm trying to warm up my wrists. Okay, we've got a down dog, so let's walk forward into down dog. Take a moment of pause. And then bring your body forward towards a plank. You can adjust your hands further out from you and further apart from each other, if that makes sense to your body. And then dip your hips and come into an upward dog situation. Good, stay as long as you like in either of these positions. This is the one that we're doing for 2 minutes. So take the time that you need. I mean, that's what this little mini movement routine is all about, just checking in with your body. Again, if you're like me, and when you feel a little gnarly and a little disconnected, maybe you move slower. That's definitely what I do. I move slower. I'm not trying to push in any way, shape, or form. That's 1 minute. We're going to keep going for another minute with this down dog, up dog. I'm not pursuing any particular result, right? I'm not trying to elicit anything. I'm just hanging out with the body, saying what's up to my muscles and my joints, and just encouraging myself to move in a variety of ways that I've not moved in today yet. And that's really all it's about. I have definitely found for myself that any effort to force a result from my movement or from my performance or from my body, it goes sour very quickly. It does not work for me to force a result. All right, we're walking our hands back to feet. Take a moment, hang out. You can clasp elbows if you're into that. You can hold behind your legs. You can even hold behind your head and tuck your chin. That one can be quite nice. So again, just feel it out. I'm gonna shift a little side to side. You don't have to, obviously. This is all about you and your hamstrings today. This is between you and your hamstrings. So just to finish that thought, as I was saying a moment ago, for me, forcing a result of any kind usually ends in injury and disaster. So I've kind of given that up to a certain point. It doesn't mean I don't at times challenge myself. That's not true at all. Of course I do. Let's stand on up. Of course I do. I challenge myself a lot. But there's a difference between challenge and force. And just feeling out for myself where that line is has been a tremendous lesson in my progression, in my growth as a mover. I'm going to go through this again. If you would like to do it with me again, I'm going to let the video keep running. I'm just going back to the top with that march. If you've had enough, that was one round. It was 10 minutes. Good on you. I'm so happy you gave it a try. I hope you're feeling a little more limber, and I will see you next time. But if you're hanging out, here we go. Now for this round, it's the same timing, which is a long interval in the world of movement and fitness. 1 minute is like, oh my God, most things are like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 60 seconds is like an eternity. But what I like is that you get some really quality repetition, right? So you don't just do something like 3 times and then move on. Like you're doing it and then you're still doing it and you're staying with it and you're doing it and you're doing it. And I love that. For my body, that just feels so good, right? To like commit and dig in and get absorbed in the experience. Speaking of, we have 15 seconds here. I'm still squeezing the glute of my straight leg like crazy, and I'm really actually feeling sore in my glutes today, so I can sense that. I can really sense my butt squeeze because those muscles are sore. All right, this is your chronic bath. So toes tuck, kneeling, whoop, and then insides the hands touch, up and over, out and around. And I can really feel a difference in my 2 arms, my 2 shoulders. Really, it's my shoulders. And something I have on the docket today is to go to the playground and to do some hanging and do some work towards chin-ups and pull-ups, do the monkey bars, do sort of a playful upper body outdoor rompus. But with that, obviously, I'm going to need some shoulder range of motion and some upper back, middle back activation. So part of my agenda with my warm-up here is to really knock the rust off my shoulders because I know that I'm going to need my shoulders later. All right, let's come back on up. Maybe you use your hands. Maybe you don't need to. That's all good. And we're twisting it out. Now, speaking of opening up through my shoulders, I'm going to take one hand to my chest and then let the straight arm swing. And as that straight arm swings behind, again, you've probably done this variation with me if you've been working out with me for a while. But as that straight arm swings, it's a chest stretch. It's a dynamic chest opener. And that's such a nice way to help mobilize your scapulae, your shoulder blades on your upper back. Again, I know that for me today, with that playground event coming my way, that I'm going to need my shoulder blades to be mobile. Plus, it just feels really nice to open your chest. All right, so as we come back around, we're hinging and squatting. This is one that I include in almost every routine I do. I think it's just so fundamental to our most functional, basic human patterning to move the hips through full range in the sagittal plane, which is flexion and extension. You're also getting the two most functional lower body movement patterns, which is the hinge and the squat, and you're putting them together. So this one is so much bang for your buck. Yeah. Any pace, any tempo. I love to mix and match, doing different things on different days. They're all so wonderful for the body. Frankenstein, this is your step, step, and a leg swing. Now with this, it's so hard for my body, and it might be for yours too, but I am, again, going to attempt and keep my stance leg pretty straight, as opposed to letting the knee buckle and bend. Now, I know, because I can see myself, I can see myself just as clearly as you can, I'm not succeeding, right? I can see that. I can see that my standing leg is not straight at the knee, but I'm trying, mentally and neurologically. I'm asking my leg to be straight. And I find with movement, transformation, progression, evolution, that as we work towards certain things in the body, we're going to finish up. I'll finish that thought as well. Let's go to a single leg swing. Ready to go. And when you are ready, just start up that leg swing here. When it comes to making change, right? It's a lot like knocking on a door, and you think for a really long time, gee, nobody's home, maybe I should take off, and just give up. But potentially, if you keep knocking and knocking and knocking, and you're consistent and persistent, eventually the door will open, right? But if you don't keep knocking at the door, nobody knows that you're there. Nobody knows that you want to hang out with them. So if you just keep, it's an analogy, it's a metaphor, so go with it if you will. But if you keep knocking on the door of switch sides, here we go, of having, say, more length to your hamstrings, more stability in your handstand, the capacity to do a few pull-ups in a row, or whatever it is that lights you up. If you just keep knocking on that door, there is a good chance that one day that particular skill or ability will answer, open its door, and let you in. So for now, just to wrap that all up, I'm going to keep knocking on the door of a straight standing leg and hope that as I stay with it and I do the work, my hip flexors will lengthen out, my glutes will get more activated, and a little bit more participatory. I'll get stronger but also more responsive glutes, and it will all just come together. All right, so back of your mat. Let's go into a walk down, hinging, coming forward. In your plank position, you can pause and chug again if you like that. You can also do circles. I like that a lot. Often I'll do that. But when you're, when you feel good about your plank moment, walk back and do a couple walk downs. We are keeping it nice and casual today. So you can really personalize this based on what you need, what feels good to you. And again, maybe knowing what you're going to do with your body later on. Let that inform how you use this time. We've got just 10 seconds, so I'm going to do one more walk to plank. And then from that plank, I'm going to dip my hips and come towards that casual up dog, which is hip flexor, belly stretch. And then go back to down dog. Good, and keep going. Just going to change our angle a wee bit so you can see a little better there. So as much time as you would benefit from, as you would like in either of these poses, or if you're feeling good and zippy, then you could kind of pump your body forward and backward and take it a little bit more up tempo. Again, whatever you like, however you want to or need to use it, it's here as a tool for you. Yeah. Use it as you will. Remember, this is the one we do for 2 minutes, so we're going to keep going for 1 more minute. And that's why it's nice to mix up the static hold where you just pause and enjoy the position with moving dynamically between the two positions. With 2 whole minutes, you have plenty of time to experiment with both and to reap the benefits of both. And this is really winding down what I wanted to do here today prior to some yoga and prior to some playground. I have a nice full agenda today, as I often do. But for this piece, we are starting to wind ourselves down. And what I'm going to invite you to do for about 30 seconds is hold either one of these positions. All right? I'm going to hold the down dog. Maybe you want to hold the up dog. Maybe you want to lower your knees so that up dog becomes more of a cobra pose. All right? Just take about 30 seconds and be completely still. Just let your body take the form. And then let that shape sustain. Good, just another moment. If you are in up dog or cobra, you could press yourself to down dog, or if that feels too much too soon, go to child pose. Good, and then let's all meet in a squat. You can have your feet wide. Take your elbows inside your knees. And then just circle. We're going to interlace fingers and just circle the wrists a few times. Okay. So I feel better. I feel ready to move. Up to this point today, I wasn't sure. It was on the fence. It was a little iffy, like, oh, am I going to move today or what? Hopefully, if you actually did go through this, right, you're feeling a little more ready as well. And that is just awesome. So thank you for giving this a go. I hope your body feels better. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Happy moving. Enjoy your day.